Welcome back to Encouraging Things. Today we're going to be taking a look at this little guy, who we're going to be performing brain surgery on in order to make the Waffle from ASDF movie 12. If you guys haven't seen ASDF movie, it's a series of extremely random cartoons made by Tomska here on YouTube, and I highly recommend you check him out. Now, the first thing I have to do in order to get this guy cleared up is to get the ribbon off of him, which is stitched into place, and I just remove the stitches with very little damage. I also take a moment to remove the manufacturer's tag so it won't be in my way later. Once that's done, I have to decide what type of material I'm going to use. I have some leftover material from previous projects. They don't exactly match the material of the Waffle, but that's okay because this is one of those just fun projects to try something out and practice a little bit. The first thing I need to do is create the mouth. In order to do that, I just cut out a square bit. And with a quick test fit, it's perfect. But let's just go ahead and trim off the extra. Now, because everything in ASDF movie is outlined, I wanted to kind of create that image, and in order to do that more easily, I wanted to place white on top of a darker color in order to create an outline. So I traced the shape of the dark patch on a white piece of cloth, and then cut that one out and trimmed it to size. And once that was put together, another quick test fit, and it's even better. Now, I know that the Waffle on ASDF movie 12 has very thin arms, and he's also holding onto a couple of pieces of utensil. For this plushie, I didn't want anything hard, so I left out the utensils, and for the arms, I decided to make them more like the feet that came with the original plush. In order to do that, I wrapped some cloth around a tube from a lawn light from the Dollar Tree, and then used that to stitch together a tube. Once that was stitched together, I then cut off the excess material. Most, if not all, of the stitching was done off camera, as stitching on camera is extremely difficult. I didn't use any specific type of stitching. It was literally just putting the stitch through the cloth back and forth, making a straight line, and then tying the end so it didn't come loose. Once I was done, I had pulled the tube out, and now I have a tube of cloth. Now, originally I tried to make a hand in order to make a bulgy round hand, and I had stitched together some cloth in order to match what it looked like on the feet, but I found later that that became a little bit too difficult, so what I did instead was I stitched the ends of my tubes in order to make the same shape, to just have arms rather than have arms with hands attached. And then I just cut my tube in half, and now I have two arms. Now when I tried to turn it inside out, I found that I had cut through my stitch, so I had to re-secure the ends. Then once that was done, I was able to turn it inside out. While I clumsily turned this inside out on camera, I wanted to take this time to thank my patrons, those people who encourage me to continue making these videos and having fun here with you guys on YouTube. Of course, everyone encourages me, everyone who watches, every view, every subscriber, every like, every dislike, every comment, every interaction helps these videos, whether it helps them get better or helps me get better, and I appreciate all of that. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and a special shout out to my patrons. Once the arm was turned inside out, I then had to stuff it, and I used some extra batting I had lying around. I realized later that I could have used the extra stuffing I took out of the little guy, but by that time it was too late. So now I have some extra for some future projects. Now once the arm was complete and stuffed, I was able to test fit it, and it looked like it fit pretty well. The next thing I had to do was get the little guy open. This was the part I was dreading the most because this is where I actually had to cut into the original plush. In order to do that, I just cut each of the strands that were holding the pieces together and very carefully extracted them in order to open the plush up. Once I'd done that, I removed a bunch of the stuffing. I cut off the ends of the remaining fabric that made the ring around the outside, and then I stitched the two halves together, leaving a very unseemly seam. Now it took me some time to figure out how I wanted to cover up that seam because I didn't like the way it looked and it didn't have the shape of teeth marks. In order to do that, I took a white piece of cloth and placed it over the top in order to see if I could get the bite marks to look proper. And with that, I sketched out some teeth marks and then adjusted my camera lighting so you could see the teeth marks too. And then when I cut it out, I was able to have teeth marks on both sides. That also covered up the seam. The bonus part about this is one of the teeth marks also covered up the eye that I had to have removed in order to make the plushie look proper. Once it was all cut out and sewed together, I added some extra string around the top in order to help make those teeth marks stand out and make it look more like the animated image. The alignment of everything isn't perfect. There's a lot of fraying edges. This is not the perfect plush. I actually am making it as a gift to someone who very much loves the ASDF Waffle, and there's, to my knowledge, no plush available for it. So I made my own. And here's the finished product. So how did it turn out? I really like the way that it turned out. I really enjoyed making it. It didn't take very much time at all, and it was a lot of fun. And of course, I encourage each and every one of you to make whatever's on your mind. Whether it's altering a plushie to make something that you love, or whether it's making something that you love from scratch, it's all the same. Just take the time, enjoy what you're doing, and however it comes out at the end, just know that the effort that you put into it was worth it. And once again, thank you all for watching.
Did somebody say waffles?
No.
I have brain damage.